You just clicked on this video and it opened in less than a second. Well, if your internet connection is really good. But little did you know there was a complicated process that happened along the way. When you clicked to watch our video, your computer sent a request to another computer owned by Video Hosting to show you this video. Video Host's computer then found a file for this video consisting of maybe billions of ones and zeros and sent it to you to watch. Welcome to the internet, where a lot of valuable information is stored at the tip of our fingers. And we still choose to watch funny cat videos. But did you know how the internet came to be? Because, you know, that video of cats traveled a long way to you. So how is that possible? If you seek the answer, then you're in the right place. In the early 1960s, the Department of Defense got a knock on their door from a computer enthusiast named Joseph Licklider. He wanted to propose an idea. What if there were a kind of technology, a computer network that connected scientists and engineers throughout the country? Surely it will speed up many processes and help the US become a superpower in the Cold War. Executives, thrilled to overthrow the Soviet Union in technological advantage, agreed to supply Joseph with as much funding as he needed, as long as he promised to deliver the technology, of course. And, oh boy, he did not disappoint. Joseph was working on creating the ARPANET, a computer network of all scientists working with the newly created ARPA, Advanced Research Projects Agency, now with a D, which stands for Defense. He dreamt of creating a galactic computer network, which would be accessible to all, where people could share information about everything. And so he began making his dream a reality. ARPANET started fairly small. It established a messaging service between computers at UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, the University of Stanford, and the University of Utah. At first, it looked like regular chatting. Hey, did you finish your nuclear bomb? No, just finished making a camera to spy on the Soviets. What about you? We don't know if these messages are real, but we really want to believe that this happened at least once. Anyway, from there, ARPANET grew exponentially over the decades. By the end of the 1970s, the network was stretched from the West Coast to the East Coast, even attaching isolated places like Hawaii to it. But there was a challenge: packet switching. Well, it wasn't a problem, it was a revolution in online communication. Packet switching is where different computers send messages along the same set of wires. To communicate, both universities send, let's say, a message, also called a packet, along the wires that connect them both, instead of using a circuit switch when, you know, an old lady connects you to the wire of your best friend somewhere in Alaska. But here, you don't need an old lady, you need a good wire across the country. However, the packet switching had a downside. Each computer always needed to have a list of other computers' addresses. So the packet arrived at your buddy in Florida instead of a random person in San Francisco. That said, the network grew so much bigger, with other countries developing their networks as well. However, everyone formatted their packets differently. So it would take hours for an American to write a packet in such a way that it would reach a person in Norway. So ARPA created a set of programs called TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol/Internet Protocol, which we use even today. It was a single standard way of formatting packets so that everyone could speak and understand each other in a single format. It was basically a translator that fixed connection issues. Even though the translator worked as intended, it was growing to become an inconvenience too. Computers across the vast network were identified with numerical IP addresses, like 191.173.1.1, which is, to be honest, not so easy for regular people to remember. In the earliest days of inventing IPs, it was easy. Everybody had a certain map of different computers that people could easily read and send a message to one another. And here's the problem, more and more computers were joining the network, and keeping track of everybody wasn't even physically possible. This had to be addressed. People needed to create a more human-friendly way to access resources on the internet. This is why DNS, or Domain Name System, was created. The first system was implemented by Dr. Paul Moka-Patrice and John Postel in the early 1980s. Let's say you want to send an email to your co-worker Emily. Before DNS, you would send an email to emily@example. With DNS, Emily's name became emily@example.com. This was a domain structure that organized all those hosts around the world in a way that people could read and computers could handle. Then, DNS was made to keep track of all those addresses and connections. Now, computers still use DNS servers to resolve domain names to IP addresses, rather than storing all addresses locally, which is really convenient. Well, by the late 1980s, the Department of Defense had accomplished its goal. The development of the internet involved the work of numerous researchers, institutions, and international collaborations to go from just several computers to a vast international network, being able to message everyone at any time. It became a powerful tool for academic and research institutions. And now we have videos about engineering, articles about renewable energy, and of course, kitty photos. But how people learnt this technology and adapted it to the whole world is a story for another time.